Number 6. In January of 2012, Captain Francesco Schettino was commanding the Costa Concordia cruise ship in the Mediterranean Sea. During the voyage, he decided to bring the ship dangerously close to the coast of Isola de Giglio. The rumor is that he did it to impress his lover, a young European dancer. But Francesco has denied this claim. Either way, he was playing fast and loose with the 4,252 lives on board, including his own. The massive ship hit a rock in the shallow water, which tore a 160-foot gash in its hull. The Costa Concordia started sinking and then capsized. Francesco quickly realized that he wasn't the type of captain to go down with the ship, so he took off on a lifeboat. Afterwards, he did drown in legal battles. He was hit with charges that ranged from causing a maritime disaster to manslaughter. The Costa Concordia disaster cost approximately $2 billion, which is more than 3 times the expense of actually building the ship. And more importantly, it claimed the lives of 32 people. Number 5. Unless he's starring in a 1970s style adult film, Superman doesn't have a mustache. This hard fact created a multi-million-dollar conflict during the production of the Justice League movie. Actor Henry Cavill, who played the Man of Steel in his latest on-screen appearance, became the man with the million-dollar mustache. While filming for the Justice League with Warner Brothers, Cavill was also working with Paramount on a new Mission Impossible movie. Somebody really should have navigated these waters better, especially when you consider the rivalry between these two studios. Paramount believed that the mustache that Cavill had to grow for his character was of paramount importance. They refused to allow the actor to shave it off for the Superman role, so Warner Brothers opted to have it removed via CGI, which, along with reshoots, cost $25 million. To make matters worse, Cavill's mustache proved to be too powerful to be digitally contained. The hilarious result made it into the final cut of the movie, gifting the internet with some great meme material. Number 4. It's typically a bad call to cut costs at the expense of safety. And when you're drilling for oil deep in the Gulf of Mexico, it's a recipe for flaming disaster. On April 20th, 2010, high-pressured methane gas caused an explosion on the Deepwater Horizon drilling rig. As it ignited, the platform was engulfed in flames and the working crew was trapped in the blaze. British Petroleum, the company that owned the rig, would be blamed for an inadequate safety system and deadly cost-cutting decisions. The company would also plead guilty to 11 counts of manslaughter for the workers who perished in the disaster. It remains the largest maritime oil spill and one of the worst environmental disasters in history. An estimated 210 million gallons of crude oil spilled into the Atlantic Ocean. The fines, cleanup, and legal fees cost British Petroleum $65 billion. A decade later, this incident still serves as a stark reminder that safety should come before profit. Number 3. Back in 1867, Russian Emperor Alexander II looked at Alaska and probably thought to himself, what a waste of space. Russia was recovering from the Crimean War and decided to part ways with the 586,412 square mile territory northwest of Canada. The United States, itself recovering from the Civil War, called dibs on the territory and paid $7.2 million to purchase it. Even for those times, the US got Alaska for a steal at 2 cents per acre. This would end up being one of the worst trade deals in the history of trade deals. A ton of gold was found in the territory, which triggered the Klondike Gold Rush. In the years since the Alaska purchase, the US has made back about 100 times what it paid for its 49th state. Number 2. Up next is a story of how the clash between the imperial and the metric system claimed the life of one unlucky space probe. The Mars Climate Orbiter was launched on December 11, 1999, destined for the orbit of the Red Planet. Communication with the orbiter was lost on September 23, 1999. Miscalculations of its trajectory sent the robotic probe either to the depths of space or burning through the red planet's atmosphere. The reason for this miscalculation was a piece of ground software supplied by the aerospace contractor Lockheed Martin. It calculated the probe's thruster impulse in pound-force seconds instead of Newton seconds. The trajectory calculation software used the reading to update the probe's predicted position. The total cost of losing the Mars Climate Orbiter was an astronomical $193 million. Number 1. It wasn't enemy fire that doomed one B-2 stealth bomber, but rather an avoidable mistake. In 2008, it was the US Air Force's most expensive aircraft. In February of that year, the B-2 bomber, known as the Spirit of Canvas, took off from a base in Guam. Beforehand, the maintenance crew hadn't been properly informed on how to deal with moisture infiltrating the plane's air data sensors. This critically compromised the sensor's readings, which caused the aircraft to stall and crash shortly after takeoff. Thankfully, both crew members successfully ejected, but the Spirit of Kansas was lost. Since it cost roughly $1.4 billion, it remains the most expensive air crash in history.